All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Prepare to Go There. If you're a leader, an executive, or an entrepreneur, you know that you cannot afford to go without the right people. You can't go into the next 12 months or the next 36 months without great great people that are in your corner, that are on your team, and that are working towards strategic solutions in your field. And so that's why we have to talk about this really important question. How do we know if our team culture is unintentionally repelling the people we need to succeed? Or how do we know how to intentionally create the kind of culture to resonate and receive great leaders in our future? That's going to be our topic for today. And I want to help you think through really the map that you're using as an executive leader, as a team leader, as a business owner, as a church planter, a pastor, whatever group of people that you are caring for. I want to help you make sure that you're growing a healthy culture that actually does the heavy lifting of drawing in great people to help you continue in your amazing mission. If you're just joining or you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Peter Birchfield, and I'm so grateful to show up on future Fridays with you for Prepare to Go There. Prepare to Go There is a leadership journey, it's a leadership podcast, it's a leadership community. It's for those who want to stay future focused and they want to do the necessary preparation to be a better leader and to prepare leaders for the next phase now. And so, working on our leadership preparedness is mission critical, not only to help us make real progress in our own lives, but also to guide our organizations and our communities into a brighter and braver future. And so I'm super grateful to be working with amazing leaders like you to encourage you and to help you think through some of the strategic and tactical things that you can be doing on a very specific basis, down to your conversations, your meetings, your goals, your systems. We can really get focused in some specific ways, and we'll begin to see our team gain more and more traction over time. So if you're down for that conversation, welcome, and let's get into this. I'm so excited about what you had to say because this is honestly a tough question. Peter, how is my team culture repelling great people? And we're going to see a bunch of responses that came through this leadership community. And I kind of get to share them and kind of talk about them, talk around them, maybe connect a few dots along the way. But I really wanted to listen to this conversation. And I think that's the first step. If you want to be really intentional about attracting and growing with great people on your team, as well as, developing them into leaders for the organization, for your media agency, or helping you with your charter school, or helping you just even with your faith community. Whatever field of leadership you're in, you cannot overlook the importance of having other great people pulling with you in the same direction. If we overlook their impact, their importance, and the impact that they're making in our organizational context or just our culture, we're going to be doing more work with the searching, researching, trial and error, trial by fire of just looking for this high turnover of people instead of getting great pillars, great load bearing leaders to join the work so we can build the kind of culture, build the kind of community, build the kind of movement that is going to make a huge dent in the future for the better. And so we're going to talk about some of their comments, but I want you to ask this question personally. Before we get into this, you need to have a healthy respect for the kind of people you want to bring into your team. And so before we get to the responses, this isn't going to be a one size fits all remedy, okay? The antidote for your team culture might be a little different than the antidote for someone else's culture. The path forward is going to be nuanced. It's going to need real context clues. You're going to have to try and apply before you see those results, take shape. But what I do want to urge you with right here on the outset in the first few minutes is this needs to become a top tier project for you. This needs to be a conversation that you have with those that you trust, maybe a spouse, advisors, some other leaders on your team, some mentors. You need to rally people together around this goal. How are we going to figure out which kind of culture we need to keep great people going, to keep great people growing in our context? I have found that if you have a healthy environment, healthy people show up. If you have a stagnant environment, healthy people leave. They find healthy environments. That doesn't mean necessarily you're attracting, a bunch of dysfunctional behaviors, but it does mean you don't have the same responses. You don't have the same, if I could say, organizational immunity to help heal and to help encourage growth and health in your organizational context. So it becomes increasingly more difficult to rectify this problem, this challenge, when it's happening more or less off of the radar. We cannot really detect the movements and the method behind this kind of thing. So we really need to slow down and we need to invest time in our Future Friday, right? Future Friday is just one of those days of the week. We allocate a little bit of extra time to think deeply, to go into the future, to work on our future, work on the potential, work on the strategy, work on the culture, right? And that could be in our personal life. It could be in our professional context as well. And so how are you going to figure out what kind of culture you need for great people to keep going with you? And how are you going to figure out what culture you need for other great people to lead alongside with you or to lead on behalf of the organization? Okay, so a lot to kind of wrap our head and heart around today. And I don't want you to say, I got to figure it out. I know exactly what it is. Bada bing, bada boom, let's go. No. You have to realize that this is going to be a big investment. It's going to take time, take thought, take listening, take learning, take some change, but it's necessary and it's worthwhile because it's going to help you in your long game approach. And that's what I have found great people are looking for. They're looking for this phrase that I really latched onto, this phrase that really has helped me personally in my own leadership journey. I want to share it with you. It's this idea that everyone in the team, everyone in the room, everyone in the organization is asking one simple question. And it's, do I have a future here? Do I have a future here? And so for us, one of our executive superpowers should be on the leadership level, futurability, the ability to see the future in advance so that way we can put in the work ahead of time and then we can seize that future opportunity on time. Okay, now that's a mouthful, I get it. But what we're going to see as we go through your responses, as we go through responses from this leadership community, and they're great. I mean, we got some real we got some real fireworks coming. But if I could summarize what we're going to be seeing and feeling and learning together, is that the executive leadership level can really serve their community, their company, their organizational culture with clear vision. And having a lack of vision is going to become one of those repeating themes that we see in the kind of culture that repels great people. You know what I mean by repel, right? Like, in the South, we live in the Texas turf, and we get mosquitoes from time to time. And I don't like mosquitoes because everything is bigger in Texas. And so we will try to get some mosquito spray, right, to repel the things we don't want messing with our backyard, our patio, our space. And so you spray it on. Well, unintentionally, we can have this atmosphere. We can create this culture in our meetings, in our work, in our goal setting, in our online interactions, our remote work behavior, in all of these different dynamics. We don't realize that there is this repellent, this thing that can actually put off great people that we cannot see or appreciate just yet. And so, there's things that we do unintentionally. There's things that we do to, a default. And a great leader is willing to keep growing. And when a great leader is humble and hardworking and willing to listen to others, it actually diffuses a different message that says, we may not have it all figured out right here, right now, but we will. We will, because I can see clear evidence from the leaders, the directional leaders, that they are willing to keep their face focused on the future. They're not going to get entrenched in, previous triumphs or their own version of tradition. They're not just going to get kind of distracted by all of these trends, but they are going to stay mission centered, mission focused. And they're going to do whatever it takes to keep us on the path that goes in the right direction. And I think that alone can reassure people for sure. All right, so let's get into some of the responses that came in, because I wanted to hear from you. I don't want to repel great people. I want to help through the executive coaching that I do and through the different leadership contexts that I share. I want to help resonate with great people. I want to send a message that resonates with them that says, you have a place here. You're welcomed here. We respect you here. We want to do great things together here. And we're going to invest deeply in the kind of culture that's going to go the distance and make a difference. And so I love this first one. This first response came in to the question, what can teams do unintentionally to repel great people? This first response says, tolerate bad habits. Ouch. Man, we're coming out the gate swinging. We are not playing games here on Prepare to Go There. Man, if you want to repel great people, just tolerate the bad habits of other people who are not motivated, not on board, not connected, not helping, not cooperative. Just tolerate those bad habits long enough, and it will send a clear message to people who are working hard, who are trying their best, who do want to grow and level up in their leadership capacity. They're going to say, why bother? Why try? Because look at all of these bad habits that continue unchecked. This response goes on and says, it kills the motivation to do things right. 100%. If you want to repel great people from your team and even make it harder for future leaders to stick around, then just tolerate the bad habits. Don't acknowledge them. Don't work on them. Don't call them out. Don't course correct. Just have that hands-off approach and tolerate what you can't handle. Let's look at the next response. When asked the question, what can teams do unintentionally to repel great people? This response says they have no room to receive new ideas or new inputs because they're threatened by new ideas. That's a really good point. If you want a team culture that attracts great people and that connects great people to the bigger picture of where you're going, because I've found that great people are willing to roll up their sleeves, they're willing to work, they're willing to make things happen. I mean, I'm going to use a very kind of off-topic example, but hopefully you can see great people are willing to work on things that are valuable. And a great marriage isn't automatic. A great leadership team isn't automatic. A great, cause or movement isn't going to be the same in every season. So when you believe in something and you're committed to someone, either, in the more intimate, personal marriage context or just in the more professional and values-based work aspect, regardless of whether it's personal or professional, people are willing to make things work. They're willing to show up, to grow, to change, to put in the reps. They're willing to do these things. What they're not willing to do is wait infinitely on no change. If they say, hey, if things are clearly not changing and you have no desire to change, what are we supposed to do? Now, I know this is apples and oranges, and I'm not really doing any kind of marriage advice here. I'll save that to the counselor. So please go get professional help and have those conversations there. What I'm just saying is, as a macro observation, great people are willing to work. They're not actually threatened or they're not actually repelled by seeing something that's a work in progress. They actually like the challenge. They like making things better. They like innovating. They're okay with disruption. They are down for that project. That's the point I'm trying to make. So let's go back to the leadership side of this thing. And I love this response that came in from the leadership community because it says, if you have no room to receive new ideas, then you're going to be threatened when new people show up in the team culture. If you have no room, you say, no, we've already have it all figured out, and we don't have any desire to deviate from kind of this norm, then there is clearly a snag. There's a challenge there. How are you going to level up if you're not willing to humble yourself, listen, get feedback, grow? I'm inspired by the Proverbs that says a wise person receives reproof, correction, feedback. But if you are not willing to take it, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to create a conversation with other great leaders. And I have seen, just kind of in my own executive coaching, one of the challenges that a lot of executive leaders face is they're working in an environment that has a assumption. And the assumption is we're bringing people in that need to change so that way they fit into what we're doing, instead of we're bringing people in that can help us change in a positive way, in a healthy way, in a natural way, so that way we actually fit into the next phase. We can fit into our potential. We can continue to grow into our purpose. And sometimes if we think that we're bringing people in that somehow they're on audition, it's actually a two-way audition, friends. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the good fit test? It is a two-way street. It's a two-way conversation. It's a two-way relationship in the work environment where you're saying, hey, we want you to feel reassured that this is a great environment to work with. And we want to be reassured that you're going to share the load of work or leadership with us. It's a super insight. I want to go to another response from our leadership community, asking the question, what can teams do unintentionally to repel great leaders? And this response is, leaders make decisions without being in touch with what the team is really needing. Man, that is so good. Maybe you've been in that scenario before where, for whatever reason, things are moving fast, maybe a little uncomfortably fast, and you don't know how to slow things down long enough to get more input. And I get it that there is a time and a place to just have someone lead the situation with authority and lead with a decisive sense of direction. But we also have to communicate in a way that is reassuring the team. So yeah, we want to be alpha in the situation, so we're not being overtaken by the circumstances, but we're actually rising to the occasion, and we're being the strong, reliable leaders that can bring, harmony and help in the midst of a chaotic situation. Maybe your vendor had to back out on you, and you had to figure out how you're going to meet your deliverables, how you're going to serve your clients on time. All right, well, now's not the time to squabble. You got to step up. You got to make a decision. You got to follow through. I get that. But this insight is different. I like what's coming from this response in our leadership community, because they're saying when leaders make decisions without being in touch with what the team is really needing. I love that, because it's saying it's not a matter about speed. It's a matter about connection. It's like if you are driving your truck with a trailer connected, if the trailer is hooked on correctly, if the trailer is tight, if the trailer is, going to stay on, man, you can drive on different terrains at different speeds. I mean, you can navigate. You can go to the right lane, left lane. You can exit. You can go off-road. I mean, you can take the truck and trailer together in a safe and successful way. But if you have not done due diligence beforehand, before things get fast, before you kick it into go mode, to make sure that you're actually connected, that you're actually on the same page, right? We can take that metaphor and now apply it to our team culture and say, are you putting in the reps to communicate and to listen and to ask questions and to create something of a portfolio of your organizational philosophy? So that way you're actually building in pre-decisions. Are you making pre-decisions that have been well informed by the leaders that matter to the organization, to the team? I love that. All right, let's go to the next response. I will also, while I'm kind of taking this little pause here, I would love to hear at any time, whether you're watching here in the live stream or if you're watching the replay, let me know what field of leadership you are in. Let me know what stage of your leadership journey you are on. And let me know some of the challenges that are associated with that point in your leadership journey. I want you to know that I am here to pioneer with you. And I want you to know that there is a growing community of pioneering leaders that are committed to keep showing up on the front lines so that way we can prepare for the next phase now. And so that way we can pioneer the future with confidence. You really can lead with confidence. All right, here's another one. Answering the question, what can teams do unintentionally to repel great people? And this response is great. It says they have no clear ladder for growth. No clear ladder for growth. I totally get that. As a executive coach, I work with executive leaders, executive teams, entrepreneurs, really the leaders that are building something. They're building something for the future. They're thinking about the future of their family. They're thinking about the future of their community. They're thinking about the future of their industry. And so you have to have a different mindset because a lot of it is you have to think in terms of investment. What kind of investments are you making? Because you realize this is pioneering work. I mean, this is uncharted territory. Uh, maybe you haven't been this way before. Sure, other people have started businesses before, but you have not personally been this way before. So you need a reliable guide that's going to help you navigate and create the future of that business. And I also love working with creatives because they're creating new expressions and new ways to share their values and share their art with other people. And so there's a lot of pioneering work there because you're leading people into new paradigms. You're leading people even to take action, maybe that they haven't done before. And so regardless of your field of leadership, we always have to stay future focused. And that's why this response matters to me. If we do not share with people openly and confidently, there is a path. This response says they have no clear ladder for growth. I like that. Obviously you're showing people how they can be elevated in the organization. That's cool. I think the metaphor that I would use, or the kind of the mental map I would work with, is the idea of a path. What's the path that I can take to grow my skills, to work on different teams, work on different challenges, so that way I actually expand my executive capacity and I'm not just repeating the same task over and over and over again for, 5 or 6 years. I don't want to just kind of get in a rut based on routine because it was convenient. I actually want to go on a graduated path that is helping me incrementally level up in my leadership journey. And so I think this is huge. This is a huge insight for executive leaders, for entrepreneurs, and really just for any of us who care about growing great teams. We have to be very vocal about the future that we're all going into as a team. And a future focused team culture is willing to work on it and to grow in a healthy way and to help others be personally empowered, so that way when they show up in this next phase of their life, they're going to show up ready. So you got to be really intentional about the path. And I've seen organizations, I'm very inspired when I work with different organizations. They have a clear map. I mean, they know literal stages and steps. They've got it dialed down that well. And so you may say, "Well, I'm not there. I'm not that big. I'm not thinking like that." But if you want great people, you're going to have to enlarge your heart. You're going to have to expand your thinking. You're going to have to now think of this growing team and think about what each person needs and how we can all succeed together. So have a clear path for their growth. All right, here's another response from the leadership community. What can teams do unintentionally to repel great people? Just overmanage people who lack motivation and underdevelop people who are motivated. Wow. That's a good thought. Okay, so if I understand this, what's being communicated is when the leaders spend too much of their time and attention on just fixing and trying to bring up the rear, so to speak, those that are not motivated, not cooperative, not excelling, they're feeding that kind of thinking. They're essentially unknowingly rewarding that kind of behavior. And it sends a message. It's not just that, oh, I have, these really motivated people on my team. They're self leaders. They can initiate, they can take care of themselves. It has nothing to do with giving them autonomy and space, is that you're actually not rewarding them. You're not encouraging all of those good behaviors. So we have to have a healthy, I keep saying healthy in this time because I think that's what it comes down to. Healthy things grow. But, the same time, you're over managing people who really are not willing or connected with the work at hand. You're actually neglecting something really valuable. You're neglecting the strong future leaders that need to be developed. I think there's a huge insight here because many times the kind of people we want to stay in our team still need work, still need education, still need training, still need mentoring. So again, it comes back to this idea that I said at the beginning, this lack of vision. If we do not know how to see where potential talent is in the organization, if we do not know how to see the path that we can guide them on towards, their own leadership journey, if we do not see the overall direction that the organization can go in or that the community can go in, and we're not telling people about that journey, any of those levels, a lack of vision at any of those levels will send a very stark message to other people that they have to fend for themselves and that they're going to have to find their own future in their own means, in their own way, some other place. And so know where your time is going. Be really intentional on the leadership level, how you are investing your time. Because if we are unaware, like this response says, I think this is an awesome response from our leadership community. If you want to repel great people, just overmanage the people who lack motivation. And in turn, what you're missing is you're missing out on the opportunity to develop the people who are motivated, who are contributing, who are putting in the effort. That's huge. That's really good. Okay, we have one more time for one more response. How do we create a team culture that resonates with great people and that sends a message, whether it's verbally or culturally, that hey, this is somewhere you want to stick around. Obviously, you can communicate in the structure, in the compensation, in the different roles and assets that are available in the organization. But for the sake of this leadership community, I want to focus on the culture piece, because investing in the culture is something that you are developing over and over again, but it actually amplifies the kind of team that you need to pioneer in your future. So this last response says, what can teams do unintentionally to repel great teams? And the response is just discourage initiative. Just discourage initiative. I think that's a great insight, because great people know how to take initiative. And that's actually a benefit. If you have, for lack of a better phrase, just an insecure leadership approach, you're going to feel threatened when other people take initiative. Instead, I hope that we're growing in our leadership and just in our people skills, where we can communicate and we appreciate when other people take initiative. Now, if the culture has not been clearly communicated, then maybe taking initiative is challenging, because it feels like you're trying to go in this direction and then their initiative is, going a different direction. But we should never say that initiative is the evidence of, someone that we shouldn't have on the team. Well, they can't stay. Why? Because they take initiative. What are you talking about? That's how we got here. That's the only reason we got to where we are now, is because someone was willing to step up. Someone was going to try the idea before, it proved successful. So, yeah, initiative is the engine that keeps individuals emotionally engaged, but also keeps the team productive. So that initiative, I don't think we can really predict great success on the team level, that we can, just totally dial it all down to science. Systems actually free up our time, so that way we can take on new challenges and keep growing that initiative muscle. But if you think that you're just going to systemize all the people instead of empower them to the leadership level, reward that initiative and let them take more initiative, I don't know. It's kind of a backwards way to think about leadership. I think it's actually just a misleading definition of leadership. Leadership, by definition, is that people are competent and trustworthy of taking the risk, of taking initiative. In fact, we always want to reward when we see initiative happening on the team level. So let me know. We're kind of running out of time here. So I will include you and recruit you that are watching. Join this conversation. Drop a comment here, or you can find me on Instagram as well. And let me know what you think repels great people from the team culture. This is an ongoing conversation. It could become a series for sure. I'll finish with some closing thoughts here. When I think of these responses, and when I really just track back to my own experience in my 15-year leadership journey on the team level as well as the executive level, and now with the executive coaching that I do with nonprofits, with businesses, with startups, just honestly with amazing pioneering leaders. I think what happens is there are things we tolerate and things we assume are not a big deal, but because we kind of get caught up in the speed of leading, and we kind of get caught up in the rush of being a leader, we forget that those things are on autopilot. We forget that those small things are actually accruing and they're communicating over time. And so that's what happens. Unfortunately, most leaders are just too preoccupied being the leader to actually investigate what's going on at the team culture level. And we're not really monitoring that leadership journey that people are on. And we don't have that expectation that people are thinking about their future as soon as they get in the front door. In fact, many times the thing that gets them in the front door is the positive, hopeful, reassuring expectation that there's going to be a path to grow, that there's going to be some sort of support system that's going to help them navigate challenges, level up, learn, etc. So it's really important that we make leadership preparation a priority for the executive leaders. You say, well, I outsource that. I let other people handle that. But what you want is a great team to multiply, not divide. And many times the decisions that your team members are making happen months before they actually make the announcement. They actually make the change. They actually make the resignation. Okay. So we have to be playing kind of 4D chess to realize that when we're working on our future now, it is investing in the choices that people want to make, hopefully for the better. So don't get preoccupied, stay future focused and think about your team culture, because if you don't have great people, if you have a leader shortage, it will not be a fun ride. It will add to the compound difficulty of your own leadership journey. And something that is very rewarding for your leadership journey is staying on the leadership journey long enough until you can look right and left, and then you can look behind you and see other great leaders, other great people that are willing to go in the same direction that you've been going, and to say, wow, I had no idea that my leadership journey was going to inspire a leadership community. And I had no idea that our leadership community would inspire or catalyze a leadership movement. And so, what you're communicating with your own compound consistency is the thing you're going for, the thing that is important to you, the mission that matters to you, the community that you need to serve, the injustice that you need to rally, to defeat, to stop. You say, hey, this direction matters. I'm going to keep going in this direction. Whatever that focus, whatever that life's work is for you, you're just going to keep braving it in your field of life and leadership. And then other people start paying attention and they say, yeah, I want to do that too. I don't think, this is Peter talking, okay? Just bringing the best that I've learned and earned over time. I don't think great people are turned off by adversity or difficulty. I think they're actually excited to take on those kind of challenges. I think more often the thing that turns them off is they're looking in the team culture itself right? They're not thinking about policies and programs. They're thinking about the people. They're thinking about the relational dynamics. They're thinking about their relationship or access or lack thereof with their direct reports. Y'all know the study. It says most people don't quit a job, they quit a boss, right? So if we are leaders, this really matters to us that we think about what kind of team culture we're creating, because it is speaking for us. It is actually happening regardless. It's like infrastructure in the organization. It's like the water or the electricity. It's built into the organization now, and it keeps things moving. It keeps things happening. So don't overlook this. This is a big investment, but it matters, and it's going to have huge return on investments in your people, in your capacity to serve, your capacity to create revenue, your capacity to see profits, your capacity to make a difference. And so take some time today, take some time this month, and work on it. See, I believe that the winners in the future will not be the most productive, but the most prepared. Those that are future focused, that are approaching their work strategically, and they're thinking about how they're going to develop a team of leaders that can actually take on uncharted territory together. There's going to be a lot of strength in collaboration for the future. So make sure that you get prepared as a leader, and make sure that you know how to personally and practically prepare your team to show up ready, to show up for the next week ready, to show up for the next project ready, to show up for the next challenge ready, to show up for the next disruption ready. You have to prepare yourself, and you have to prepare your team to be successful in the next phase now. I want to invite you to check out my Prepared Leader Challenge. This is going to be available running through this month. You can register, be a part of a live coaching session with me, and I'm going to share with you the 5 decisions that prepared leaders make to prepare other leaders. Prepare leaders to grow, to level up, to work together as a team, to be more efficient, to really buy in to the work that you're doing. And even if you don't have a team yet, this is absolutely going to prepare you for that stage of your leadership journey. So you'll find the link in the description below, and then you'll be able to see a time and a date that works for you. Jump in. I would love to hear about what field of leadership you're in, what stage of your leadership journey you're on, and then give you these simple, strategic decision points. Help you think through it and get really, really clear. So that way now the whole team can pioneer. And it's massive what this does, because so many leaders are burdened, they are risking burnout, and they are communicating so much with their lack of preparation. And so I don't want you to be the only person that has all of the burden of responsibility on you. I want to show you a proven, reliable framework that's going to help you actually share the load with a team of leaders instead of being a single point failure for your work. All right, if that sounds great, just register. Jump into the Prepared Leader Challenge. It'll be a big help for you. I think that is it for today. I really appreciate you showing up again and again. We will be here on Fridays, right? Future Fridays, and take some time to grow our leadership preparedness. Stay awesome. Keep putting in the future work. And remember, you're going places. So prepare to go there.